Named exotics offer a quick way to get a fully decked out weapons that come with 8 attachments already equipped, a utility bonus, an exotic effect, plus a unique camo. So if you are starting a new operator or fancy a change, they are a good way to boost the lethality of your character fast. With the introduction of the Exotic Fabricator, exotic weapons have become less essential in Endgame, but I feel like they still have their place as they are widely available and a good way to get instantly upgraded weapons. I thought I'd put together a list of my personal top 5 exotic weapons and quickly go over how you can modify each one to be the best it can be. I'll be touching on the affinity bonuses for each weapon. If you aren't sure how exotic affinities work, check out my last video to find out more in-depth details about that system. So I'll go over my top 5 exotic weapons and chuck in a couple of honourable mentions as we go along. There are currently 18 different exotic weapons you can find in Endgame, and some of them are ranked amongst the best weapons in the mode, even with the Exotic Fabricator being brought in. Okay, let's get straight into it with the exotic weapon that takes my number 5 spot. The Flash Burst is the M8A1 marksman rifle, which is one of the best weapons in the game. As with all exotic weapons, it comes with 8 attachments and a random utility bonus and exotic effect. The great thing about marksman rifles is that they, like sniper rifles, can have the explosive bullets utility bonus added to them. To get explosive bullets, you'll either need to find the Flash Burst with them already attached or re-roll it at the Exotic Fabricator for a chance to hit it and apply it. Explosive bullets are one of the best, if not the best, utility bonuses in Endgame. It's great for dealing with groups of enemies and the higher tiered enemies and bosses. Additionally, the Flash Burst has an affinity to frost rounds, so as I said, there is a video that explains how affinities works on my channel, so if you aren't sure, go and check that out. But basically, if you find the Flash Burst and it has the frost rounds exotic effect already on it, you'll be able to roll the utility bonuses at the Exotic Fabricator and get the chance of 3 unique utility bonuses that aren't available on the base weapon or any other weapon. If you find the frost round version of the Flash Burst, it can come with or have added to it Flash Bomb, where frost rounds can trigger on multiple enemies at once, Ice Clouds that can cause killed frozen enemies to leave a cloud that slows other enemies, and Big Game, where frost rounds can slow elite enemies. These are fun and unique utility bonuses that are only found on frost round affinity exotics, but for me personally, the best utility to equip to the Flash Burst is the explosive rounds. Just remember that it's best to have Bulldozer when using any form of explosive weapon, as it will protect you against any explosive damage from enemies, but more importantly yourself. Next up, we have a sniper rifle with the Continuum, which is the Hawker HX. As with every exotic weapon, the Continuum comes with 8 attachments already on it and a utility bonus and exotic effect. The affinity for the Continuum is graviton rounds, so again, if you find the Continuum with the graviton rounds already on it, it will offer 3 unique upgrades you can't find on the standard version of the weapon. These are Black Hole that forms a black hole that pulls in and teleports enemies away, Warp that warps an enemy that deals damage to other nearby enemies, and Big Game that can cause graviton reaction to activate on elite enemies. These are cool utilities, especially Black Hole. It makes for some interesting gameplay visuals, but as with the XR3 Ion, the Continuum is best with shrapnel rounds as the exotic effect and explosive bullets as the utility bonus. It's not quite as devastating as the Ion, but it comes up close in terms of stopping power. The biggest downside for me with the Continuum is that it has a long distance scope, making it harder to aim properly at nearby enemies. For skill tracks, I'd again recommend Bulldozer for the explosive resistance and Eagle Eye for the crit damage increase. The Continuum is great against elites and the bosses found in the Nightmare Zone and Glitch Fractures. It's a solid weapon to have in your secondary slot if you aren't using the XR3 Ion as your main weapon. Next up, we have one of the original exotic weapons in Endgame, the Kill Switch. The Kill Switch is an exotic variant of the AK-27 and it has an affinity for shrapnel rounds. The AK-27 has been one of the most solid assault rifles in the game, and the exotic version is no different. As this is a shrapnel affinity weapon, if you find it with shrapnel rounds already on it, you'll be able to find it with or reroll at the Exotic Fabricator, blast chain that causes 3 additional explosions on nearby enemies from shrapnel rounds, blast shield that when shrapnel rounds affects multiple enemies at once, your health damage is reduced, and big game where shrapnel rounds activate against elite enemies. The standout utility bonus for the kill switch, the reason I've included it on my list of top 5 exotic weapons is that sharpshooter can be added to it at the Exotic Fabricator, or it can be found with it already on. Sharpshooter is one of the better utility bonuses in the mode as it turns upper torso shots into critical hits, meaning you deal far more damage to enemies as you're hitting more headshots. The kill switch makes an excellent secondary weapon if you are running the XR3 Ion as your primary weapon. It comes with a large mag and can have decent upgrades applied to it if you don't find it with the ones you want. The biggest downside to the kill switch is its recoil. The recoil for it is horrendous in comparison to pretty much everything else on this list, but if you are looking for a quick weapon upgrade and this one pops up, it's worth grabbing. Okay, so before we move on to the 2 final weapons in my top 5 exotic weapon list, I want to throw in a couple of honourable mentions. These are incredibly solid weapons that I think are deserving of a mention. I would put them into my top 5, but I personally don't vibe with them as much as the other weapons on this list. But I would still recommend giving them a try if you find them, they might suit your playstyle better. The first weapon is the Barrage, which is the Razor 9mm SMG. It has an insane fire rate and absolutely melts through enemies. It's a shrapnel round based weapon, so can have all the shrapnel round affinity upgrades I mentioned for the kill switch. It's one of the best exotic weapons you can find. It just doesn't fit my personal playstyle, but I would 100% recommend you try it out for yourself. The next honourable mention is the Redline, another solid choice as it's the XM325 LMG with a giant magazine and can have several utilities applied to it to make it slap. Again, this is one that is 100% worth keeping an eye out for, but the other LMG on my list is better in my opinion. The Redline is a mortar round affinity weapon, so it can come with fire wheel that creates 2 fire wheels that spin around enemies, starburst that when mortar rounds explode additional flares fire through enemies, and big game that can activate mortar rounds on elite enemies. But it can also have the escalation utility bonus that causes the fire rate to speed up the longer you hold the trigger down, making it insanely fast. Okay, let's move on to the number 2 exotic weapon on my list, the Reboot. The Reboot is an exotic variant of the 1911 pistol. It comes with shock rounds as its affinity, so providing you find it with shock rounds already applied, you can roll Chain Lightning that can stun multiple enemies at a time, Lightning Strike that causes a bolt of lightning to strike from above that stuns enemies, and Big Game that activates shock rounds on elite enemies. But the best utility bonus that you can get on the Reboot that cannot be found on the standard version of the 1911 is the grenade bullets. These things absolutely destroy crowds of enemies in every zone or glitch fracture. It doesn't quite deal with elites or glitch bosses as fast, but it's still good enough to run as your only weapon through the harder zones of Endgame. It has a fast fire rate, and although the mag size is small, reloading takes seconds, so that doesn't hinder the weapon much at all. It's by far my favourite exotic weapon in Endgame now, not just because it slays everything, but because it's fun and wacky too. It's my hope that Treyarch will let us roll grenade bullets on the standard 1911 soon, so we can start running it with the 1911 akimbo attachment, as that would be insane. There are videos on my channel that show off the Reboot in greater detail, so if you need more convincing this is one of the best weapons in Endgame, go check those out if you haven't tried the weapon out for yourself. And now for the final exotic weapon in my top 5 list of best exotic weapons, the Hyper Surge. The Hyper Surge comes with an affinity to shock rounds, so you can find it with all the affinity utility bonuses I just mentioned for the Reboot, so that's Chain Lightning, Lightning Strike and Big Game, if you find it with shock rounds already applied to it. The Hyper Surge is one of the best weapons in Endgame. It's the SoCal 545 LMG, so comes with an extra large magazine, decent fire rate and easy to control recoil. As with every weapon in Endgame, it can be upgraded at the Exotic Fabricator to include utility bonuses like hip hit, sharpshooter and free fire. The two utility bonuses I look for are usually free fire that puts all the ammo into a single magazine, so you never have to reload, or the sharpshooter upgrade. Sharpshooter transforms upper torso hits into critical damage, meaning you're doing far more headshots than usual. If you are aiming for one of these utility bonuses, I'd recommend sharpshooter for it, but try free fire out as well because it's incredible having close to 1000 rounds that can be endlessly fired without needing to reload. The Hyper Surge will carry you through all zones in Endgame and any of the glitch fractures, either as a team or as a solo. It does well against each type of enemy, including the bosses in the glitch fracture. If I'm looking to boost an operator quickly, the Hyper Surge is always an excellent choice for the secondary slot. And those are my top 5 exotic weapons with a couple of honourable mentions thrown in. What is your go-to exotic weapon in Endgame? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll be uploading more Endgame videos in the coming days and weeks as we build up to Season 4 on June 4th. So make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out. I have an Endgame dedicated Discord server, so if you are looking for teammates or want to discuss Endgame further, the link is in the description. As always, thanks for watching and have a great day.